Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who don't know me, I hope everybody knows me. My name is Sushil Tuli. I'm the founder, chairman, CEO of Leader Bank. And on this International Women's Day, on behalf of Leader Bank's president, Jaishree, and the entire management team, I extend a warm welcome to each of you gathered here for the launch of monumental book, Women Who Win. So it's my immense pleasure to introduce Women Who Win co-authors, Shaleen Sheth, Dr. Manju Sheth, and Dr. Deepa Jhaveri. Would you come and take a seat, please? Three of you. And I am so honored to introduce Priscilla Diagnosis. Oh, Priscilla. Priscilla Diagnosis. Our distinguished guest. Priscilla will be engaging with us in a fireside chat. Priscilla, renowned of her leadership empowerment initiatives, aligns perfectly with the mission of Leader Bank, and she is a board of directors member of Leader Bank, and the essence of Women Who Win. Under her guidance, we will delve into the lives of the remarkable women profiled in the book, exploring their journey and the lessons they offer. At Leader Bank, we are especially honored to host this event. We strongly believe in the power of such stories to inspire, challenge, and drive change. The narratives of these phenomenal women resonate with our values of leadership, innovation, and community support. To the extraordinary women, all of you featured in Women Who Win, your presence here today is a beacon of hope and a source of immense pride. Your journeys, full of challenges and crowned with achievements, pave the way for future generations to dream bigger, aim higher, and achieve greater. Thank you so much for being here to celebrate the launch of Women Who Win. And before I hand over the mic to Manju, I want to thank Alka Kotak. For several days, she has been helping me to prepare, plan for everything for this event to be successful. And I also want to thank Elizabeth from Leader Bank, who is the head of events planning. And Elizabeth, thank you so much. And welcome couple of our senior executives of Leader Bank. We have Dorothy there, standing right there. She is head of our retail banking, and Paula is sorry. Thank you. Oh, there she is. And thank you again. Thank you so much. It's such a great honor to have you guys all over here. And I hand it over to Manju.
Thank you so much, Sushil, for your kind words. And I want to thank Sushil and Alka. Thank you so much for hosting us today. Thank you very much. So welcome again to all of you on behalf of our team, Deepa, Shaleen, Ramila, Rama, Surendra, and Lucy, and also on behalf of our family, my husband and Deepa's two daughters, Anya and Myra, are here. So thank you so much for joining us. So my dad was a civil engineer in India, and he always said that if you want to build a strong house, build a strong home or any big project, you need a good foundation and you need 4 strong pillars. So I think we have a good foundation, and I'm going to tell you today who our 4 pillars are here today, who make us so strong together. So first, of course, I want to point out to Sushil Tuli. Thank you. When an empowered woman has a strong male ally, I think sky's the limit. So thank you so much. Desh and Jaishree, I think I'll tell you, it'll take me a lifetime to tell you the impact they have had on my life and on Shaleen's life. And because both of us are so happy with them, on Deepak's life as well. So, my media journey, as most of you know, I'm a doctor. My media journey and the community journey started 15 years ago. And I don't think I have done a project without Desh and Jaishree. Whether it's Chai with Manju, the first ones I've done with them. Whether when I took over as a director of Woman of the Year, Desh was first chief guest. Then New England Choice Awards, they were our first lifetime winners. Then when we started our doing stories on with women who win, their stories were right there, and 10 to 20% of stories in the book are related to Akshay Patra. So of course with Shaleen also being a young ambassador, youth ambassador for Akshay Patra, and then young professionals. So thank you so much. Desh is a man of few words, but I remember he gave a compliment to me, which I always remember. So I've done a lot of great Chai interviews thanks to him, including Sudhamti and live interview with Nina Deluri. And I remember that I was doing a good job when Desh introduced me to Linda Henry one time to do an interview, and he said, "Not bad for a doctor." So that, every time I feel a little bit insecure or I feel, what am I doing? I have my imposter syndrome on the media. I always remember his one sentence that I'm not too bad for a doctor, so thank you. So, and of course, our third pillar here is the lady here, Miss Priscilla Douglas, and she has outstanding resume, as you know, and Sushil said she's the chair of Boston Public Library. She has, when Sushil told me that she's done the Fireside chat for the president of Harvard book release, I was thinking, we have come a long way here. So, but her resume is so fantastic. But what was the nicest thing about her is when we had a Zoom chat with her, what I saw was that she was one of the nicest, kindest people that you will ever meet in your life. So thank you so much. And of course, our fourth pillar is all of you here. Thank you for coming today, and I want to say a special thank you to all our contributors. It's a big leap of faith to tell us your stories and hope that we will present it in a way that you will like it and you will feel comfortable with it. So I can't tell you how much as a team we appreciate your faith in us. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. It means the world. It truly means the world to us. And thank you, all of you, for coming today. Thank you so much. On that note, I'm going to invite Desh and Jaishree to come here, please. And we got our first hardcover books last night. So I'm going to give it to them so they can open it for us and officially say the book is released for all of you. Thank you. I'm going to have you say a few words.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's a real joy to be with all of you at this book launch today. And it's very appropriate that we celebrate the achievements of 100 women But we should also remind ourselves of the tremendous potential that the world is still not utilizing. For hundreds of years, women were sidelined. However, it is good to see the progress in the right direction over the last 3 generations that I have lived. My mother as well as my mother-in-law went to the universities in the 1940s, and there were very few ladies who used to go to the universities then. And they both became teachers and taught for a few years, and then after having kids, they were managing the household. Even though they had a lot of potential, but opportunities were limited then. But in my generation, the environment had gotten better. I went to IIT Madras, then I worked at the National Aeronautical Laboratory and Indian Space Research Organization, and then I taught computer science after coming to Boston. However, when my kids were growing up, I had to give up my career. Now I see the next generation where both our daughters-in-law are well-educated and full participants in the economy in a 50-50 partnership with our sons. So we have to want to see that. I want to congratulate Shaleen, Deepa and Manju and their entire team for highlighting so many inspiring women role models to us. This is an excellent start, but it's just a start. This is an excellent start, but only a start. Now there are billions of women, particularly at the bottom of the economic pyramid, who don't have the opportunity. And I invite all of you to join hands with Shaleen, Manju, Deepa and their team to enable every woman in the world to achieve her full potential.
Well, thank you, and I'm very pleased to see so many men here. Because I think we're all here to get inspired by all of you and do well. And maybe Manju, Shaleen, and Deepa will write their next book as Men Who Win. So thank you for what you're doing. So just continuing on the comment that Jaishree made, for the last 15 years, we've been working with a lot of women, both in India and in US, who are being left behind, right, in the bottom of the pyramid. And it's so nice to see that just given a little bit of a hand, how they can do so much better. In US, we have a program called E for All, which Paul Lee is also very involved with. We have about 2,000 companies, and guess who owns 85% of them are owned by women. And 30% of them were previously unemployed. So these are people who don't really have a lot of education and so on. And but given just a little bit of help, they can really get going. And so we're hoping over the next 10 years, we'll get that up to 50,000 companies.
Wow.
And so, and the same thing is happening in India. In India, a lot of the men and women in rural India, in villages, they graduate. It's 15, 17 years of education, but nobody ever gets a job, right? So we built a campus, a 300,000 square foot campus, where we train, which Rakesh Wills did. And we built it's a residential program for 4 months. So we built a dorm for women and men. So originally when we sized it, we had 800 rooms for men and 600 for women. But now, it's women who dominate the whole thing. So not only the 800 we had to convert to women dorm, but we had to take over a few floors from the other one. So I think it's just amazing how motivated they are and how driven they are, and given a little bit of opportunity, they can do extraordinarily well. And it's a shame that the world has ignored 50% of that talent in the world for centuries. And so I really appreciate all of you being here and being the role models for billions of them. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Next phase is a fireside chat with Priscilla.
Thank you, and welcome. welcome. It's so good to see you and to be with you here in person. Because when this book project started, we were all in the midst of COVID, fearful, shut up in our homes, not knowing what was going to happen in our world, not knowing what was going to happen to our families. All of that uncertainty, a lot of people really longed and kept saying, I wonder if we're going to get back to normal. I wonder if that's ever going to happen. And then people started talking about the new normal. The new normal. Well, that quite hasn't worked out either, the new normal, with the amount of change and rapidity that we see in the world, the amount of disruption. But one of the things, the reason I'm excited to be here today is because of this book and because of the lives of the women who are profiled, their courage, their resilience, their tenaciousness, their ability to adapt and recreate who they are, their ability to hold their families, their friends together, their loved ones together, and their ability to bring new visions, new innovations, new products, new services to the world, all in the midst of such craziness, such disruption. Women rule the world. There's a song about that, right? we may not always be in the headlines. We may not always be out front, but this is the book that tells the stories of so many women who are making an extraordinary difference. I am delighted to be here to moderate this conversation with Manju, Deepa, and Shaleen today, because what a trio. I am so grateful for them for telling this story and bringing the lives of so many women. In the room, how many people are in the book? Could you please raise your hand? Woohoo! This is a great, great book. And we're going to start off by talking about how did you come up with this idea in the middle of COVID? And what was your process?
So thank you so much. I think, like you said, those were miserable days. I can't put it anyway, except even as a doctor. And this really started as a coffee chat in my house, and we were just talking, and we spent the first 10 minutes just talking about the sorry state of affairs. But then we thought, we have something, something positive should always come out of whatever negativity is around you. So we said, we're gonna take some real stories of real women, because everybody has a story and everybody has a dream. And notwithstanding that we are not real journalists, we were gonna get started because, unless you get started, you just don't know where it's gonna take you.
So I'm gonna correct that, this real journalist, because I have been watching Chai with Manju, and I know that many of you have. So, you're real.
It's not bad for a doctor.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add to that I think the vision was to have a silver lining in the midst of all of sort of the negativity, all the horrible videos we were seeing of desolate people and just the despair everywhere. And I think we always wanted to do something for women empowerment. And then when this kind of came up, this concept, we started off really as a small just a small idea, like how they say, proverbially on a napkin, kind of, and then it just kind of grew, and it's been an amazing journey so far. So
we've done 600 stories.
I can add to that. I think what we saw was that there were so many like negative stories and a lot of like negativity in the media, and there's so many stories of like really incredible women, and nonprofit leaders and doctors and artists just doing such incredible things in the world that wasn't being highlighted and wasn't in the headlines and wasn't being showcased. And I think that's what we wanted to do. We just wanted to bring them together and remind them that their story and their dream matters, even at the world's most challenging time. And I'm excited that we accomplished that.
And one of the things that happened during COVID, obviously, is that we all got introduced to Zoom, right? We all got introduced. A lot of times people think that out of a crisis comes an opportunity. So talk about your social media and how you got going and how you reached your various audiences.
Sure. I can talk about the social media piece. I guess everyone's looking at me because I'm the youngest, so I guess I'll take that. I'd say that it's funny because we started the whole thing as a Facebook group, and then that's grown to about 9,000 members, and then that's what's really exciting. And then we've had our LinkedIn page, our Instagram, and collectively between all the social media, we've now got a community of about 50,000 members across social media, following this platform and following this book, and so. It's really exciting to see that so many people, have a story to share, and that they're not, just sharing their own story. They're engaging with other people's too. We were able to do a nonprofit grant with LinkedIn last year to really build momentum, and people were coming in from all over the world. So, talking about things like vulnerability at work and postpartum depression and topics that people don't talk about on a public social media forum, but they were talking to them, but they were talking to us about it. And so it was exciting to use social media to drive these conversations forward.
And I think what Shaleen forgot to mention is when she mentioned the word Squarespace, I remember saying, huh? What is that? And so, I remember sitting at the table going over, Squarespace and the other websites, and Shaleen basically helped build the entire website from scratch. And now it's one of our portals that a lot of women reach out to us from. Because we have the Nominate a Woman, and that's helped us grow a lot and reach out to a lot more people too. So that was part of the social media and outreach.
When we got the grant from LinkedIn, and after the end of the grant, when we had a conversation with them, and they give you web analytics, and I've shared it with some of our contributors. They said they had 10.7 million impressions. So for me, it was like a jaw drop moment. And I said, really? Because it's so unbelievable that something like this could happen. And one thing I've realized over and over, that if you have a dream and you really believe in it, nothing and nobody can stop you. And there is no age limit, and there is no shelf life on your dreams. So no matter what age you are, keep doing it.
Expiration date. No expiration date.
No expiration date. I'm going to ask you this. You can hear me, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and all the way in the back? Good. Yeah, great. So here's the thing. I want to know, in terms of you reached out, and in fact you are having conversations that are unusual. They're unusual because they are intimate, personal, and authentic. Tell me, what is it about you that makes individuals, your audience, have these conversations with you?
I think for me, I had a little bit of an advantage being a doctor and being a primary care doctor. So people are used to talking to me. Yeah. Only in this case, there was no HIPAA agreement. So that was the difference. But I think that what sets me apart, I feel, and I think probably is my biggest strength, is that I'm genuinely very interested. And I think there is a lot of authenticity to me. What you see is what you get. And a lot of stories that have come to us have been, one of the statements that I've heard over and over is that we trust you to share our story in the right way. And that's why I thanked everybody, because I feel that we have done some justice there. and showcased it very nicely, at least to the best of our ability.
I agree with that, and I see a lot of heads nodding in terms of that. These stories, one of the themes that came through to me was the fact that people, almost everybody had gone on a journey, you know, either from their home to the United States, a journey from their family to a new place, and like that. And what are the kind of the characteristics that allow people to go on a journey like that?
I think the theme that we've noticed almost across all the stories really, is the ability to adapt, to change. And I think that was something that was important to us, how, I guess in a simplistic way, how people chase their dream, but also how they were willing to adapt and change, you know, either their jobs, their industry, whether it meant countries, you know, and across all industries, the change was sort of the constant, if you will. And we felt like that was very interesting, not just very interesting, but also very important to kind of highlight that everyone is, that's available to everyone. You know, if someone is not in a situation that they're happy, or if they have a dream that they'd like to pursue, like to give them the inspiration to do that. I think that's what we kind of notice across the board.
I think everyone in this book is very gutsy and just very brave. I think that it's really just, you know, like in any story you read, whether it's like one of the pilots that we interviewed or one of like the astronauts we had, actually, I think everyone in this book has really kind of taken themselves out of their comfort zone. You know, like they were comfortable not being comfortable. And I think that, you know, everyone in this book has taken on a challenge, or, you know, whether it's like immigrated to a new country or taken on a new project at work. I think everyone in this book is really comfortable not being comfortable, and they're really just gutsy and bold, and I think that's, you know, what it was.
Pilot? Astronaut? Tell us more!
Those were, I think, yeah, I think, you know, we've had such a variety of stories and such a diversity in stories. The pilot and the astronaut, those were two of my favorites from the beginning, and one of them, she was one of the few female international captains. So in the pilot world, only 5% of pilots are women, and only 2% reach the international captain level. And so one of the women we interviewed, you know, she's trying to break barriers and change that. You know, she's trying to create change, and, you know, she's comfortable, you know, really going out there for it. And then one of the other ones we did is this aeronautics engineer who's actually, now she's excited to share her dream that she's going to be going into space next year. And so, you know, we try to bring stories from really all over the spectrum. I'll let you guys talk about some of those.
Sure. And actually, one of the stories that I think I was able to relate to was Yoshika's. She's sitting right here. Was, you know, where she, you know, was able to sort of come out of her shell, so to speak, within her profession, and how she used that to, you know, sort of advance in her field. And of course, it was relatable to me too, but I felt like it's relatable to a lot of people. And another one of my favorites is one of my best friends who, you know, she's vegetarian, and you know, the sort of myth, I guess you could say, of how it's hard to become a marathon runner as a vegetarian. And you know, I have kind of followed her journey, and she's run 7 marathons as a vegetarian, and it was very interesting and cool to me. And so when I asked her to do the story and just have other people, give them hope, if you're thinking to run a marathon or you want to do something, that, you know, don't let limiting beliefs stop you. So those are two of mine.
I don't know if Gayatri is here. I know there she is. So I have to tell you, and I hope I have your permission. It's in the book, so I'm guessing I have the permission to say so. So her story is definitely, as a doctor, closest to my heart, because Gayatri was a young 41-year-old, right? Had a new job at a great company running the race and at MIT Sloan, and when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And this is not something somehow cancer is not something you think will happen to you, especially if there's no family history. But what I really liked was that she had confidence in me as a person and as a doctor, that we would share her story the way it should be shared, in the right way. And what was the best thing that came out of it was that, and I'm not exaggerating one bit, that hundreds of women wrote to us, especially to me after that being a physician, is that they went and got a mammogram. And I think that if you read her story, it ends with a very nice quote which says that if I can change one life. And I think her story changed so many lives, because I think Indian American women are a little bit behind in getting their physicals and preventive stuff done. But she definitely changed things there. So I'm very grateful that you shared your story.
And that's one of the key themes, is that really the power of our story, the stories that are our lives, the lives that we're living. We live our life and we do things every single day, and a lot of times we don't even know the impact, right? We're just like, oh, well, that was nothing. I was just doing what I always do, like that. But that's what I love about this book, is that there's like cause and effect. People tell their story. I see myself in the story. I see a possibility for myself, right? Is that, yeah.
Yes. I think for me another important thing was when I got started 15 years ago, I wanted to give back, and I just didn't know how. So one of the things which has been very important for all of us is to showcase all these women who are here. They're giving back to the community in some form. So we have showcased most women leaders, community leaders in this book. Whether it's a charity like Vision Aid, ACL, Suvicare, you name it, Saheli, Indian Medical Association, Akshay Patra, their leaders are in this book. So anybody who's looking for a direction to where to get started, they kind of are going to learn how to do it, and they have a person to reach out to.
But the thing about it is that these are not little visions. These are not these are big. I mean, you heard what Desh said, and the work that they're doing, it's huge. We're talking about with AP, feeding how many children and building how many schools. Talk about that a little bit.
I think we are going to reach a big milestone next month.
April
Rakesh
2nd. April 2nd,
Yes.
we're celebrating in United Nations the 4 billionth meal.
Wow.
And with some of the schools, $1 a day, right?
No.
Not even that, not with yours.
$20 for the whole year.
$20 for the whole year produces this type of result. So that's one of the things that with the women that are profiled, almost each person had some way of giving. They were connected to their community and they were giving to their community. Absolutely. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. I think you're right. I think in most of the stories, the women, especially the philanthropic stories, a lot of them were people that had a vision of something that they wanted to help with, and they were able to achieve that. And I think the other interesting thing is that a lot of the stories, there might not have been traditional charities that they worked with, but I think what's amazing is that these stories, through the Women Who Win book, I think they were able to impact a lot of the community. So not even as a nonprofit, not as a traditional nonprofit, but a lot of the stories got the message out, like she mentioned about Gayatri's story. And so I think that's what's amazing about this book, because there's some that are sort of traditional charities, and it's amazing to see the work and the impact that they do, but then it's also so inspiring to see these other stories that have now, as a result, had that kind of effect on other people.
And that's why I want to underscore that point. From what I got out of it, is people, there's one term that just came through, is that the women are not held by boundaries. They're not held by traditional structures. It really is that if you want to do something, find a way. And it's even beyond that when you see the commitment and the value and the passion. It's just a way of being in the world. It's just like the right thing to do, right? I see heads nodding.
Yeah, I think that it also speaks to, you know, how like multifaceted the women in this book are, and that, you know, like they have, you know, their jobs and their family and their careers, but I think every woman in this book, and, you know, many of the women in this book have made time to pick a cause that matters to them, and, you know, just give that extra time in the day to something that's really like making a difference to someone else, so.
And it's really for, I want to talk a little bit about the spirit, this is a limited word. It's not necessary, I don't want to say spiritual, because that's not really what I mean, but the culture and the compassion and the caring that comes through, that turns up in the workplace, it turns up in the profession, it turns up in how people relate to each other, right? Yes. Talk about that. I'm still trying to figure the language and the meaning out, so help me.
In what way? How people relate to each other?
Yes.
I think no,
It's and I don't know if I'm getting your question right, but I also think that you start off with a mission, but it's surprisingly how that mission takes on a life. It takes a life of its own. That so many different things have come out of it that we didn't expect. On a fun note also, I'll tell you, because it's not just about the important, serious things. Somebody just mentioned to me recently that, you know, this book has become like a go-to book. If I want to find out where you can get the best Indian clothes, you have a designer in your book. If I want to find somebody who is a great poetess and I want somebody to come and present our event, we have Sunana there. So we have people from all aspects, you know. And I'm going to a little bit digress because this tell you a very important story which I feel is that really needs to be told. And this was the earliest when I realized the impact we were having. And Saira is here, and I asked Saira, she's a physician, that we would love to do her story. And she said, wait, do my mother-in-law story. So her mother-in-law's Koratol, what she did is that she built schools for women in the remote Baluchistan. I don't know how many schools she has built now, right?
it's 200.
So, so when we shared that story, it was one of our earliest stories, and it was one of our first global stories. I can tell you, our website just lit up. So we knew there was such an impact, that there was such a need for stories like these. So.
Yeah, and I like the way that you said it's kind of a how-to, or where-to, or connections. And there's so many tips in the book in terms of things to how to relate, how to make your life more calmer, healthier, and connected with your family, to take the time. There's one line in there that I really like, when somebody said that you have to layer in time for yourself. That's what women need to do. You need to take the time to layer it in. And that was a really good advice. And I'm wondering, from each one of you, were there particular tips or advice that sticks with you?
Sure. I'm trying to think. There was so much advice in there, and all these stories. I guess I don't have one in particular that I'm thinking about, but I think what I noticed as a theme was I felt like there was some part of every story, some aspect almost of every story that was relatable. And I think I got inspired by a lot of the stories myself, where, especially when it came to limiting beliefs, that, you know, don't. And I guess we all kind of at some level think, whether it's at work about a glass ceiling or, you know, in life. And so I don't have a particular, but I would say that's the overarching kind of theme that stuck with me.
That's a good one.
I think for me, what really stuck out was really just like seeing, because for me being kind of the youngest on the book, I'm kind of just starting out my career, and so many of the women in this book have kind of like documented their career journey, and like I said, I think what I really noticed was that each woman in this book was very bold and very multifaceted, and I think that for me, coming out of college, I kind of just looked at like work as going to be like my life, and I kind of looked at my career as this big kind of defining thing. And I think what I loved when I saw in this book is that each of these women had so much more to them than that. They had this career and this family and this philanthropy. And I think I saw that. I think for me, what I realized when I was like, I realized is that I want to have that same multifaceted life. Where I'm doing, where I'm putting a lot of energy into my career, and then outside of that, I'm really kind of giving back to my community and giving back to my family. And so I think that was the big advice that I got, was just really being multifaceted and really kind of spreading your time in your life and doing like all these different things that make you happy.
That's the key. Now, I like the way that you said that. Yes, the things to make you happy and complete as a human being, as opposed to like a checklist. I've got to do these things. Yeah, came through. I'm wondering, were there any other stories that you want to highlight, or would you like to now talk about dreams?
We can move on to dreams.
When you take a look at the book, you'll see that almost each section asks at the end, what is your dream? So, now I'm going to ask you.
You go first.
Sure. I think, what I would love to see with this platform is, we've shared about 500, 600 stories to date. I think there's, like 1 billion more to share, so we're always going to have a job, which is exciting. But I think that what I would love to see is kind of building like an extenuation of this community. I think we have like our website and our social media, and people are coming together through this book. I would love to ideally like build an app someday where women can kind of interact with women who win a little bit more deeply, so they can, like have an opportunity to like schedule a chat with another women who win. They can read today's story. They can listen to one of our webinars. Like I would love to have something that really encompasses like women who win in all of their different aspects of their lives. And so, and also me kind of being a passionate tech person, that's a little bit of my dream. So I would love to really just keep building the momentum and really kind of give people a platform that they can use for inspiration, for information, for guidance, or whatever they want to. Really just be a go-to platform for women.
Perfect.
So professionally, I'm a podiatrist, and one of the things that I had always wanted to do, and we kind of started it, and my dream is to build on this, is the shoe project, which we did some projects in India where we had companies, we kind of raised funds, we bought different pairs of different kinds of shoes, and we donated them to people in India, a lot of whom are mostly barefoot, never mind not wearing the right footwear. And then we actually did a couple of projects here in the US, which was also very satisfying. We went to a women's shelter in Somerville, and I mean, you just had to see these women's faces. They were, ecstatic to get a new pair of sneakers, which we partnered with Hoka shoes, and we did that. So my sort of longer term vision is to work on the philanthropic aspect of Women Who Win and kind of grow the shoe project.
It's a fabulous project. Get your questions ready. I'm going to take a couple of questions.
For me, I do things in a very strange way. I first see what I want, and then I find a way to get there. So, like a year ago when we said, let's do the book, and then we found a way, and I feel that if you are serious, the universe will get aligned somehow. Like a year ago, if you told us that we'll be here at St. Regis, have a beautiful event which is hosted by Sushil and Alka, have you, Priscilla, are doing a fireside chat with us, and have Desh, Jaishree, and all of you here. If I sat down and analyzed it, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But so I always think, okay, that's what I want to do, and then I start looking at ways to get there, because then I feel I know myself, I'm going to work very hard, we have a great team, and somehow the right people will get aligned somehow, somewhere. So I always do things backward, So now, of course, this is the first book in the series. We've been discussing about part 2 and part 3. Sushil has also given me another idea about a very special part that we should have in the book. So that's going to happen. And, we have been approached. I know it's early days by some really special people. And all of you should be very excited because your stories are in the book. And this is somebody very major to make a web series about it. So you never know.
Yes.
You never know. So
It
let's
sounds
see.
wonderful.
As long as you're excited, the world stays excited.
And it's that excitement that I'm picking up on. So before, we have a couple of people that I want to highlight in the audience, but before we do that, would you be willing to answer a few questions from the audience? And your daughter will run the mic here. I see one from
putting her to good
lunch.
use.
Yes, right there. Colette, go ahead. And then
She has a question.
Adi.
I don't have a particular question. I want to congratulate Manju. This is absolutely inspiring. And the thing that I want to say is, at a time when it seems like immigrants are being attacked, this book really makes a difference and shows how immigrants contribute to our country, how we give back, how we make a difference, and that immigrants get the job done, as they say in Hamilton. Thank you, and let me just congratulate all the women who are in this book. You are an inspiration, and as an immigrant myself, I love this book.
Thank you. And right in front of Colette, there's a question, please.
Thank you. I have to tell you that before I came to this...
Could you say your name, please?
My name is Rita Advani, and I'm in the book.
And on our board.
Thank you. So I love the book. I had it for a few weeks, and it was sitting on my coffee table, and somebody was like, what's that? Oh, yeah, that's a book. But anyway, so I wasn't really sort of putting it all up there on social media or anything. But then I sat there and read the book cover to cover before I came the last few days. I wanted to read every story, and there was one in particular that inspired me. There was a quote that was there, which was, tell the story of the mountain that you climbed. It will be the survival, a page in the survival of someone else's story. So,
Right, please.
and I was just overwhelmed, and I have quoted that to someone who, a friend of mine who was a survivor of domestic violence. So, in terms of trying to tell her to share her story. But I wanted to sort of take it, I had this thought going through this, that we have the people who are represented in the book are people who are, women have got degrees, they've got opportunity, they've got a certain level of income, etc. Right? How do we reach out to others who don't have that same level of opportunity and opportunities made to them? And I think that there's a whole world out there that I think that, similar to what Colette said about immigrants, there's a whole lot of them out there who also have successes, that they have made successes, and another way. And I would urge you to sort of consider doing that as your fourth project.
And what we would like everybody who's in this room, if you know somebody who has a story to tell, reach out to us. We are very accessible.
And when you see the book, there is, what's that thing, that code?
Yeah, we have a QR code at the back. You can nominate there. But I think for us, every story is one we want to tell, and so please reach out to us, send us any, if there's any woman who's doing something that we should know about, we want to tell it. So.
And it's dynamic. I mean, the book is not a static thing. You've heard there's 600 interviews, and there's interviews. I saw a new one yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
So if you have a story, a story, tell your story.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I think we have, go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Aditi. So it's so inspiring to meet many of you here. And I'm following these three ladies from the very start. So I'm glad we are celebrating the success. I will also say, if you would share some of the struggles you went through in putting all of this together and how did you keep going. I think we need to hear that too, because we all celebrate success. We know it comes with, lot of struggles when we are doing it. If you would share any.
Great question.
I'll keep it clean. I am between the mother and the daughter. Like I said, I'm keeping it clean. But no, it's been, we've had our struggles. I mean, I think all three of us at some level, these two sometimes a little bit more. but I think what's amazing is we've worked really well as a team. I'm often the peacemaker between the two, but there are times that Manju and I will agree on something and Shaleen will disagree, and then she has to kind of
Wait, what?
and sometimes it's the other way, where we agree on something, and so we've kind of I think all of us have grown together as a team as well as individuals, and we've kind of learned to work around each other's nuances, I'll just call it, and we've. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a major, disagreement where we're like, okay, I'm throwing in the towel and I'm leaving. Like, it's never been like that, and I think that's really special for three of us. So that's what I would say.
I think with us also, of course, she's, we call her the buffer. So we both are very, very strong-minded. I think, we've done great. I think they really get annoyed with me because I guess I'm quite hungry. So I will say, okay, let's do this. And they're like, okay, we have a life, And my daughter always tells me that you have no work-life balance, and which is true. But I think most doctors we also tend to be, we are great coaches, but we're not very good players. So I have learned it from them that I really, like Deepa went to the gym today when I was sitting and thinking about this event from the time I got up. So there's no balance in my life, and I'm hoping to change that. But regarding struggles with people, we really haven't had any. People have been really kind and generous with us. We've really not had any struggles.
And that's our kindness.
Yeah.
There's a huge theme in this book, right, which I found very, is really clear descriptions of mothers, daughters, sisters, aunties, grandmas, that comes through, that connection. That to me, and I read a lot of books on leadership, is one of the things that makes this unique, is your story and your relationship, and clearly in your collaboration that you forged in being able to do this, it's obvious. I'm going to take one more question, and then I have two more.
Should have a man.
I have it. Just want to make a statement that this, we should not forget, is a land of opportunity, because many of us came without a degree where we could, practice anything. And this allowed us, women, to repackage, reinvent, and make something of ourselves. And I'm very grateful.
So I briefly have known Manju
15 years now, and I want to actually congratulate her personally.
Thank you.
For, I've always, we talk all the time, and as she said, she's very hungry. So I think the best thing about this book is the diversity, as Shaleen mentioned, that you have a pilot, and you have a housewife, and you have a designer, and you simply have a story of a cancer survivor. So I think that I'm, very proud of them that they have actually done their study of, actually going out and inviting different people all over the globe. So thank you for that. And having said that, what now? Are you satisfied or still?
Not at all. It's taking a long time. To go back to what Desh was saying, our new series that we are launching next month is called The Male Allies. And our first male ally story is actually right here, and I think he has a question for us.
No, I have a question. I just want to compliment you for a wonderful book, and I think the cool part is it's not about the three of you, it is about this room, which I think is incredible. I also think that the title should be changed. It should not be Top Women Who Win, but Top Women Who Rule, because I think women do rule. But I think I'm also struck by how much, and I think I can pick on any one of them, but Manju, you, full-time doctor, 5 different things you're doing, what can we men learn from you?
Yeah. I think I have to ask my long-suffering husband that. I think all women are programmed that way. Wasn't there a study done which said that women's brain lights up in multiple parts, whereas men is just one area? It's only one frontal lobe or maybe occipital lobe, to be specific. But women, they have all these different frontal, temporal, parietal, all the lights go up. So I think, but I think it's what defines is the passion. I think that's my compass. I'm always thinking, what's next? Even in the morning, like I said, she went to the gym and they all did different things, and I was sitting and writing a few things I wanted to say, and I was like, okay, after this is done, maybe next.
What's next? This is quite a celebration and an acknowledgement, and actually, can you feel the energy in the room? Yes. This is so good. So thank you. And I just want to say, I had the honor of going to Sushil's son's wedding, and I wanted to look beautiful, of course, for this wedding and for this occasion. And so, of course, I went to Jhaveri. Yes, Vajanti, where is she?
I'm right here.
Yes, please. I don't know how many of you have been dressed by her, but I suspect. Do you have a mic? Just a quick. There was something so special to me, to have. It was almost like ritualistic dressing, to be dressed by another woman or a group of women. And I just want you to talk just a little bit about your business and how it's made such a huge impact on this community.
First of all, I want to thank Manju, Shaleen, Deepa and Priscilla for inviting me here. We have a Chhabra bridal wear in Cambridge, and of course I'm the owner, but I have people working in the shop, and I have one girl who actually helped her. Her name is Priscilla, and she does a wonderful job, tying the sarees and all that, helping you with getting dressed and all that. I do too, but she's very good, And we get a lot of customers. We have almost 75% non-Indians coming to our shop, and then they come and they say, oh, the sari is so difficult to wear. There's no way we can tie ourselves. And then we make the pleats, stitched. So it likes a stitched sari, and it's very easy, and that's what we did it for her too.
Great. And it was a big success.
Yes. Yeah, it looks good. Nobody can tell like you're wearing a stitched sari.
I think it's an experience. It's not just shopping, it's an experience.
It was an experience. And again, it's the contribution that your community brings to all of us. And when you go in, like you said, the people that are purchasing are not
Yeah.
always, they're everyone.
Yeah, we get like a lot of like non-Indians, as I told you, because it's a mixed weddings.
Mhm.
So both sides of the families come, and when they come in, they specifically tell us, no sari, no this, no that. And I say, okay, let us try you, you know. By the time they leave, almost 50% buy saris. Because it makes it easier for them to wear, and they're very happy. And I'm so happy to have them. They first of all ask us, is it okay to wear Indian clothes at the wedding? It's not disrespectful. I say, no, we'll be so honored if you guys wear, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And there was one other person that I wanted to pull out. If you
I know we wanted to kind of,
Yeah,
I know,
go ahead.
Rosemary, I know you came in late, but I just,
Yes.
we wanted to hear from some of the contributors, and I know we had you on the list, and if you could just say a few words about
Where is
your
she?
thoughts. She's right over
Rosemary,
there.
let's
Want to
see.
raise your hands?
Rosemary Day.
Yes.
Member of the
You
International
know
Women's
Priscilla
Club.
already.
Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Well, I was so honored to be included in your beautiful book and to be celebrating it on and around International Women's Day. And so I'm already thinking of people to suggest to forward your way. I'm glad this is going to be a dynamic and vibrant book or ongoing effort. And you included me because I helped to launch health reform in Massachusetts, and we've back in 2006. And yeah, we have gotten to near universal health care in the state, and it was the model for the Affordable Care Act. And we like to see states continuing to evolve, and one of the areas that I would say the more progressive states are really leaning into is how to better support the immigrant communities who have not been able to get to full coverage in healthcare. So I'm really pleased to see what a number of states are doing to just keep extending, and hopefully one day this country will get to universal health care. But I know so many people are working in that endeavor, and I added something to my list, which is I'm now chairing the board of the hospital, Lawrence General Hospital, which serves immigrant communities and has for 150 years. And so I'm expanding what I'm doing, and I have a feeling that some of other folks who contributed to the book will have even more to add. So maybe you'll need an addendum or something. As we continue to reach higher to make a better world. So thank you.
Thank you for all the work you do. And then I just wanted to also call on Kathleen Walsh really quick to say a few words. I know Kathleen's like, oh my God.
I saw that email and I just put it aside. So I'm Kathleen Walsh. I'm President and CEO of the YMCA of Metro North. Very different than the work that you do, but I want you to know we support what you do, because my job is to really, from infancy to 100 years old, we are working to make the next generation better. Over and over again. We see 50,000 people a year. We serve 3,000 kids a day. And our big focus right now is on the communities like Lynn. Lynn is one of my YMCAs where we're really working to make sure that kids, specifically in that middle school age, find something positive so they're not joining the street gang. So I'm happy to support all the physicians by keeping the communities healthy and keeping our kids safe. So thank you for having me. This was, I'm so humbled when I read the stories of the other 99 women in the book. As I said, I wanted to tear my page out because I really didn't feel like I belonged with this group. But thank you for including me.
Thank you, Kathleen. YMCA events, and I know she's done an amazing job. All her employees love her, so we know. I just want to open it up. If there's any other contributors that have any thoughts or anything they want to share, sure. Myra, you're not doing your job. Myra.
Yes, she's got her right there. Go here and then in the back.
We are self-funded, so we get the kids and everybody else.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing our journeys in the way that you did. It was just unbelievable. And I'm so inspired. Oh, sorry, I'm Yoshika Sharing, and I'm in the book. And first of all, I just want to say the power of fierce women coming together is undeniable. And as you said, you can feel the energy in this room, and it is fantastic to be here with each of you. You're so inspirational to me. I think each one of us has disrupted the status quo in a different way, especially these three, and I think you've probably heard the saying, if you can see it, you can be it, and you've really proven that, so thank you.
Thank you.
And I would be remiss not to mention our male allies, and so thank you to all of you, particularly to my husband, who's also here, and he's always been so supportive, and I want to say I felt very vulnerable when Manju asked me to share my journey, and she knows this, and I had a really tough time with it. And, but Manju in her very sweet and persuasive way got me to do it. And then my husband shared my story with his female colleagues. And I said, no, please don't do it, please don't do it. And he did, and the thoughts and the comments that came back were just so nice to hear, so that really made me feel so great about sharing my story. And that's how I feel when I read each of your stories. So I just want to say thank you for that. And can't wait for the sequel.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And then all the way in the back. You have the mic back there. Who's in the back who wanted to speak?
Good afternoon.
Please say your name and, yeah.
Sure. My name is Kay Khan. I'm a state representative in Massachusetts, in the Massachusetts legislature, and I'm deeply honored to have a page in your book. I really want to thank Manju and Deepa and Shaleen. They really, and I think just repeating what was just said, very persuasive, really worked hard to get me to finish my little piece. But really, they are amazing. And I came to this through my husband. I came to know Manju through my husband, who was a member of the Iman organization. And so it really brought me close to the Indian community. So I'm really delighted to be here. And it's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful beginning. And I'm also happy to hear about the interest in the migrant population, because we just the House just passed some legislation to provide funding for migrants and to get them housed. So thank you again, and thank you for the interest of everyone and all the wonderful, famous women in the room.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all you do to make Massachusetts a better place. Yes.
I also say on the note of famous, I have one request for all the women in this room. If you have an organization, charity, non-profit that you run, please invite us. We will bring the book there. We will give the book proceeds to your charity, just so these stories get read. So,
I know it's running late. I'm going to make this quick. I'm Shaila Srinath, and very surprisingly, I am in the book. I'm an internist. I really don't do much more than that, but still, here I am. So, I guess Manju likes me. This is what I figured.
She's just being humble.
I just wanted to put a plug in for volunteering. I work part-time. I've always done that, and I have time now because my kids are grown and gone, and I would love to be involved, and I'm always looking for opportunities. So I think you have a great forum. If you can do a little, like a blurb and say, here are the things that you might want to do. I think it'll be an easy way for us if we want to do something, and then a good way for people to just give back even more.
Great, perfect.
That's a great idea, thank you.
We'll take two more.
Hi, my name is Farida Kapawala, and first of all, I want to congratulate all three of you to put such a great platform to showcase women, and I am honored to be part of that platform. So my question to you is, since you had 600 stories, how did you decide to put only, how did you pick the I was just wondering, because every story that I have read is one powerful than the other. So I know this must have been a very challenging. I'm just curious, and if you don't want to answer, I'm even.
No, I can answer that. So it was a very, we did have an editorial team also. So it wasn't just us making those selections. So we had a very good team of people that we worked with. The second thing was what was the theme? Our theme in this book primarily was women giving back. So that is how, that made it easier. In giving back in some form, like you work closely with Circle of Hope and AIF. So that was the reason we involved you. But pretty much, I would say 80% of the stories in this book are about women giving back. And a big chunk of, like, both Shaleen and I work very closely with Akshay Patra. So a lot of stories also come from there. So.
Thank you. Good. And then the next book will have a different theme.
That is a very well kept secret with HIPAA laws.
My name is there we go. My name is Ranjani Saigal, and I guess I'm also in the book. So, Mangalam Shivam. But first of all, I found out the impact of the book when you remember my organization, which does $1 a day run a school. So the fact that you mentioned that, thank you, it shows the success of the book. So, and already we have volunteering opportunities, so over there I need to talk to you. But beyond all of that, first of all, I've known all of you for so long. Manju and I have a long journey together, and Shaleen, I've known her since she was in college, in high school. So really a pleasure to see you all come together and put this thing together. So my question is, when I looked at myself in the book, I said, did I win? So what made you pick that title, Women Who Win? Was a question. I mean, of course, WWW is also a good acronym, but one of the, and again to you, Shaleen, I was talking to some young people recently, and I conduct marriages, and the women were saying, oh, men, people make fun, right? Women rule. And they were like, no, we want to be equal. So I'm hearing that more and more, and as a younger generation, do you see that? Finally, I know how she succeeds. My daughter knows her husband very well, and she said, at my marriage, he should be my bridesmaid.
So I'm going to let you answer that question as we move into the reception. Okay. Unless you have a quick answer for that.
I think it's a great question, and I think it's one that I spend a lot of time thinking about. I think it's just about really cheering each other on. For me, when one of my friends hits a big milestone, I'm so happy for them, and I also like to help my friends wherever I can. If there's something they're struggling with, or someone I can introduce them to, I always put that first. And so I think it's really just about helping each other and really advocating for everyone in your life. To your question.
Hello. I think one last question Sunana has, and then we can break.
She wants to say the thank you.
Oh yeah, at the end of
my name is Sunana Kachru. I'm a poet and filmmaker, and my story is on page 54. But I would like to just read a few lines. For years, women have been working alone. We are like these islands where we had not heard of other people. And we used to just hear, oh, there's somebody else like you, there's somebody else like you. But we needed these bridges, these connections, these channels, Shaleen, hashtags, where we could connect with each other. And this is one such bridge. This is one such bridge where we are not alone, we just know that. But I have just 2 lines that I want to read, which I'll translate in English as well. It says it, मेरी कमजोरियां भी मेरा हिस्सा है, मेरी कमजोरियां भी मेरा हिस्सा है, इसलिए दिलचस्प मेरा किस्सा है. My weaknesses are also what made me. And these are the things that make my story interesting. So accept your weaknesses. Page 30 in your life is connected to page 60. So let it all be together, and thank you Manju for including me. Thank you Shaleen and Deepa as well. Thank you so much.
Just one last thing. Just a comment. I'm Veena Handa. I'm not in the book, but I am really impressed with the platform Manju, Deepa, and Shaleen have created. You had a question why there's a lot of stories about coming from India and immigrating to this country. So I feel a lot of people who were in the first book are immigrants, and sharing their story is a great inspiration for our children, because they didn't know, some of these women who came were
educated or professional, and some of them were not. But they built a life here, and they are sharing their story, which is a great inspiration for their children, so for the next generation.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. Hello, my name is Rakesh Kamdar, and my daughter is in the book, Poonam Kamdar, so thank you so much. You know, one thing, I've read quite a few stories, and you have really presented ordinary stories in a very extraordinary format.
Thank you. Thank you.
And each story is a motivation to the person themselves also. Really, when you read your own story, you feel like doing more. So thank you so much.
So
for that.
beautiful.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So this is the beginning. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. This is dynamic. It's not static. It lives. This is a living document by women who are making a difference now, tomorrow, and into the future. Their dreams are in progress. The other thing that I love about this book is that it's based on the fact that we are all connected. We are a community. We are not isolated. We are the sum totals of our culture, our history, our moms, our dads, our families, our neighbors. We live in relationship. We live in relationship, and we have so much that we can not only give to each other, we can share with each other. And it's been an honor to be here. I have to say that I always travel with my posse, with my tribe, with my people, right? Just like you do. And I hope you get a chance to meet them during you said Colette and Suzanne and Fiona and Susie, you're back there, and Michelle, my buddies back there. I hope you get a chance to talk with all of them. And somebody who I really love, who looks out for me, who's going to conclude this, is my Alka.
Thank you, Priscilla. Give all of you a round of applause to yourself. Thank you, Manju. Good evening, everyone. As our enlightening evening comes to a close, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to each one of you for joining us at the launch of Women Who Win. Your presence here tonight has made this event not just successful, but deeply meaningful. A special thanks to Priscilla Douglas for guiding us through such an engaging and thought-provoking conversation with some of the extraordinary women featured in this book. Your insights have undoubtedly enriched our understanding and appreciation of their journey. Tonight, we celebrate stories of women who win. But let us remember that every day presents a new opportunity for each of us to pursue our passion, overcome obstacles, and achieve our goals. Let the conversation and connection from tonight fuel your journey forward. As we conclude the formal part of our evening, I invite you to stay, mingle, and enjoy the delicious snacks and drinks we have prepared for you. This is a wonderful opportunity to connect, share insights, and perhaps even spark new collaboration and friendship. Thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of the evening.